For This Week in Central New York, joining me from the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Council of Delaware County, Jen Cutting. Hi, Jen.
Hello.
We're going to try to put a whole lot into a short period of time because you're one of those people I could talk to for a long time. You have so much experience and knowledge about drug addiction or addictions in general. And you have a whole host of credentials, which we'd probably spend a half an hour talking about. But I'll just assure our audience that you're a true expert in your field. And we're going to talk about something that's called DELcovery that has recently come about. Why don't you tell us about that?
DELcovery is an interactive social media internet campaign, if you will. So a lot of people who are in recovery do not know the resources that are available in Delaware County. Delaware County is an extremely large rural county. We have lack of transportation, lack of housing, lack of pretty much like everything, unfortunately. And this baby, if you will, is a vision from Vec Videography. The creator is Jessica Vecchione. She thought this up, and really what was sorely needed, everything is so clinical when it comes to substance use disorder and recovery, and it's so unfriendly. So this was more of a down-to-earth, interactive, kind of even touristy.
Like a peer-to-peer.
Right. Person-to-person, human-to-human, really. And what we do is we have a regular website. We have TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all the social media players. And we release videos every few weeks. We have a welcome video. Then we have a video that was also released with myself and Mary Rosenthal from the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Council of Delaware County, where I just will go into all these agencies and talk with the agency heads and explain to the people what services are available so they know where to go and get clothing, food. When you're coming home from incarceration or rehab or just getting your sober feet on you, so to speak, it can be very overwhelming. And if
I can imagine.
Yeah, if you don't have a starting point, you're already at a dead end. And this is just such a warm, friendly, welcoming, easy to navigate social media type of thing. And we have funding for 6 months. And we are going to knock out as much as we possibly can to get the people informed. We have hiking trails on there, food banks, clothing banks, medically assisted treatment for doctors, things of that nature. And we are going to be getting these little cards so people can keep them in their wallet, like plastic credit card type things. So this way there's key points and phone numbers. I'm going to be doing a Narcan training on there as well. And then if people watch that and they actually want the Narcan, they can contact me and I will get them the Narcan for free as always. And we just feel like this is something that is sorely needed in today's world.
Yeah.
And hopefully, by the grace of God, we will get a big boost for funding and we will be able to turn this into an app because I feel like in today's society, that is amazing. That would be wonderful.
That makes total sense because then it's available all the time. It doesn't run out in 6 months. I think you're right. The war on drugs, so to speak, or just getting people educated and trying to get people sober, it's going to take years.
Absolutely.
It took us nothing that's happening overnight.
Right. It took us years to get to where we are, and we've finally taken the blinders off. And now we need to stop saying, oh my goodness, what can we do, and actually start doing it.
Yeah.
And I think giving people the freedom to do this on their own, number one, makes them feel accomplished. And number two, it gives them a say. That's where a lot of people get confused. Like the main part of recovery is it's as a woman in long-term recovery, I will say this, it is my recovery. I need to lead it, not have someone sit behind a desk and tell me, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, especially if they're not even in recovery.
Right.
So I think this is just absolutely an amazing new thing. And I truly pray it helps as many people as it reaches. And I'm just really grateful to be a part of this.
What are some of the things that you see that seem to work the best for people who are trying to be in recovery?
Right. So, okay, that actually, we need to use proper language. That is a huge thing. And I feel like sometimes that's really...
Because of stigmas?
Because of stigma, because of judgment, and just because we already feel bad enough about ourselves for the things that we've been through and the places we've been and the things that we've done. And then when you have someone come in and they say they call you an addict or a junkie, it just puts you back in that box.
Sure.
You're a person who suffers from an addiction. It is a disease. And we can go on and on about people who don't agree with that, but it's a fact. It is what it is. Your opinion can be different, and that's cool. I'll respect that. But the same way you want me to respect yours, please respect mine. And please speak to me nicely.
Yeah.
So that is something that is absolutely 100% one of the most important things. And then I think the next important thing is it takes one to know one. peers. If there would have been peers available several years ago when I started my journey onto recovery, it might have been completely different for me. And I think the reason why my sobriety and my recovery is as well today and thriving as it is because I was able to work with a peer this go around. And when someone can tell you, hey, listen, let me tell you my story, and I get it, like I can relate, you're like, oh, okay. And then that makes you trust them. And then that makes you work on things that you normally wouldn't tell a clinician because you don't trust them.
Sure. And I have to imagine that's kind of a must.
I mean,
you know, if you're if you want to be in recovery, to talk to someone who's walked the walk, so to speak, because you're not going to really believe anybody else, right?
Right.
That's what I would imagine.
When I sit down and I work with someone and they're like, tell me your story, and I tell them my story and they're like, no way. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, all right, so you do get it. And I'm like,
and then you can be example to them of how it can be done. Maybe they're not going to take the exact same path that you did.
Of course not.
Because it's different for everyone, isn't
it? Absolutely. We are all different human beings in general. And whether you're sober, not sober, in recovery, not in recovery, you're a normie, as they like to say, we're all different. We're all our own person. That's what makes us all unique. So everybody's path is going to be different. But if you have someone to lean on that's been through and say, hey, like, listen, this situation just popped up. Can you help me out? That gives you a different perspective and it gives you hope. And I don't want anyone to walk my path. I want them to walk their own because I want them to do it their way. And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done and they accomplish what they thought they'd never be able to accomplish, or they hit that goal, or, you know, they get visitation with their kid, or they patch that relationship with their family, that's on them. I didn't do it for them. They did it.
Right.
And they need to be proud of that. And they deserve to be proud of that. People in recovery are some of the strongest, most creative, kindest, most loving people I have ever met. They go through a different type of hell and they make it out.
Yeah. I have to imagine that it's so empowering to come from a place that's really dark and to overcome that. It probably must make you feel like you have a superpower and you're unstoppable after that. Now, you're obviously someone who has gone through this. Do you ever think to yourself, if I miss my drug of choice, do you ever feel like that? Or are you so over that?
So I would never be cocky or callous enough to say I'm over that because I am an addict. I will die an addict. I will forever be an addict. Right. At this point in time, I am just, by the grace of my God, I am on my pathway to recovery because I will never fully be recovered because I'm always evolving, changing, growing, becoming better, hopefully. You know, so I will always be recovering. I will always be a recovering addict.
So it's not something that's finite.
No, it's not, because once I get that mentality or that way of thinking, like I got this, that's when I don't got this.
Right.
You know, and
because it can sort of sneak in the back door on you.
Of course, because, you know, when we do that, we just allow the devil to get in the dark, and the devil can be whatever substance, whatever. It's not even a religious thing. It's just, we just allow that to feed and get larger and grow, you know, and I'm blessed because of the career that I have been lucky enough to be a part of. I think my career chose me. I didn't choose it. And I work with people who are still active, and it is a daily reminder of where I never want my life to be again.
Yeah.
And I think for me, like what I just said, my career chose me, and that was my higher powers doing, because I need it in my face every day.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person that I could get to that point where I could be like, I got this, when I don't, you know? Mm-hmm. So by having it in my face every day,
it's a constant reminder.
Correct.
Yeah. Back then when you were using, could you ever have imagined your life now?
No. I say all the time, if you would have told me back then this would be my life, I would ask you who your dealer was, because whatever you were taking, I needed some because it was good. Because you could have never told me that my life was going to be what it is today.
Yeah.
Ever.
Any regrets? Of course not, right?
You know, I sit back sometimes and I think, like, of course I have some regrets, but it all made me the woman that I am today. And that was for a reason. So who am I to mess with the process?
Right. Because you're helping so many people.
Right.
And hopefully more through this program, DELcovery. Mm-hmm. If people want to find out more about this.
So we have an Instagram, we have an actual website, we have an Instagram, we have a Facebook, all called DELcovery. And you can also go on YouTube as well and look up DELcovery. All the videos will be posted there.
And they'll see you.
Yes, they will see me. And if they go on the website, all the maps that are there for recreation, food banks, clothing, everything that you could possibly think of, libraries, where your local drug and alcohol is, contacts, phone numbers, everything. I'm just really grateful to be a part of this amazing project, and I hope it helps everybody as much as it is meant to, and I hope it continues to grow. And I feel like this is really a new aged type of thing. And I'm just really grateful to be a part of DELcovery.
What a great program in Delaware County. I hope people take advantage of this. And if you're questioning whether you might be, you used a phrase off air, sober curious.
Yes.
Which I found interesting. And that just means someone who's sort of questioning whether maybe they drink too much alcohol or abuse any type of substance. This is probably a great thing to check out your videos.
Yes, because it's self-run. You know, you can go on your own time, check it out, browse through it. If you have questions, maybe look something up. You know, maybe you see a place you never knew existed and then you look that up. You know, you Google that real quick and you get a better idea. Maybe that answers the question for you or gives you the courage to call.
Right. Wonderful. Jen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having me.